When it comes to the new film Sinners, the rundown of pretty much everything that I had heard about the film is A, it's pretty good, and B, it's heavily inspired by Robert Rodriguez. Now, after having seen the film, I can concur that A, it is pretty good, and B, they owe Robert Rodriguez some money. Sinners is a movie that can be split up into two separate yet unequal halves. The second half of the movie is the vampire horror film, and it has all of the elements that you would want out of a vampire horror film. There's plenty of bloodshed, and most of it appears to have been achieved using practical effects. The makeup effects for the vampires are pretty cool too. Still, this is easily the weakest part of the movie. Sinners opens down in the Mississippi Delta in 1932, where we're introduced to twin brothers Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan. They're a couple of gangsters who, after a stint in Chicago, have returned home, flush with ill-gotten cash and the ambition to open their own juke joint. They've already purchased the property and have hired on the best darn blues man in all of the Delta, Slim, played by Delroy Lindo. The only thing Slim does better than drink is them blues. They're also bringing along their young cousin, Sammy. Sammy is a preacher's son. He's got music in his hands and the voice of an angel. Legend has it that the kind of music Sammy can play has the power to summon spirits from both the past and the future, but not all of them are good spirits. Unfortunately, on the juke joint's opening night, Sammy's music catches the ear of an Irishman named Remick. Well, he's not really a man, he's a vampire, and just like Sammy's father, the good pastor, he's all about fellowship and wants all the patrons of the juke joint to join his blood-sucking flock. The only hope for Smoke, Stack, Sammy, Slim, and the rest of the survivors is to hold off Remick and his toothy crew until dawn. So yeah, it's kind of like the From Dusk Till Dawn sequel we never got. No disrespect to the actual From Dusk Till Dawn sequel directed by Scott Spiegel. It's a fun movie. Anyway, the first half of Sinners leading up to all the vampire stuff is really friggin' good. I loved the characters and appreciated the time writer and director Ryan Coogler gives us to learn who they are and what they're about. I found most of the main characters to be instantly likable. They're given great dialogue to work with, and the performances are spectacular. In fact, the entire cast is exemplary from top to bottom. Michael B. Jordan handles the dual roles effortlessly and is completely believable as both characters. And I loved every scene that Delroy Lindo was in. In fact, he steals every scene that he's in and doesn't even feel bad about it. And Miles Caton, in his debut performance, delivers big here as Sammy. I can't think of a more auspicious debut in recent years. Hailee Steinfeld, Wunmi Mosaku, and Jack O'Connell round out an extremely strong supporting cast. The writing is top-notch too. Coogler tosses just as many deep, unexpectedly hard-hitting moments our way as he does legitimately funny and touching moments. I was also digging the cinematography, which was beautiful, and the music is undeniably toe-tapping. There's no doubt about it. This is top-tier filmmaking. Then the vampires show up and completely ruin the party, as they often do, because they suck. Now, I don't want it to sound like I'm completely dogging this half of the movie, although it is definitely a step down in terms of storytelling. It gets convenient, it gets familiar, it gets cliche, it even gets confusing. It's the classic Night of the Living Dead setup. You've got the bad guys on the outside trying to get in, and you've got the good guys on the inside trying to keep the bad guys out. I use quotations because there really aren't that many good guys in the movie, at least not traditional good guys. This is actually another huge positive for Sinners. The characters don't feel like tropes or archetypes. They're just people, torn between good and evil, living in that glorious shade of gray. And because the villain of the piece, Remick, he's kind of in that gray area in some respects too. Jack O'Connell's performance is definitely a high point in the movie. O'Connell delivers a very strong performance as the charismatic, almost evangelical vampire who preaches the ultimate form of unity, an eternal unity, wherein the only color that truly matters is red. Blood red, that is. There are some thrilling moments here, and the action is plentiful, but the format feels familiar. This is some well-tread ground. I mean, you know the survivors are going to have that, well, how do we kill vampires moment after they discover that they're dealing with vampires. You know the survivors are going to have drama over differing opinions when it comes to the topic of survival. You know the vamps are going to eventually get in. You know there's going to be a life or death or undeath battle. You know that characters who you've grown to love are going to die or either join the ranks of the undead, etc., etc. There's some moments that don't add up too. For instance, there's only a few survivors remaining. However, when the vampires break into the juke joint, suddenly Several more survivors have just materialized out of thin air, just to be walking blood bags for the vampires to feast on. It's a minor nitpick, but a larger nitpick has to do with the vampire lore. They establish one thing in regards to how all those who've turned are linked to Remick, and then kind of go against that later on, only to reestablish it and then seemingly go against it again. Granted, I'm a bit of a horror nerd and a stickler for this kind of thing, so take that into consideration. Also take into consideration that I've most likely seen far more vampire-related fare than the average moviegoer, so just how well-tread this ground is will vary. I remember hearing a lot of the same criticism about From Dusk Till Dawn back when it first came out. People liked the non-vampire stuff more than the vampire stuff. Personally, I love the whole darn thing. 2 words: Salma Hayek. I don't feel quite that strongly about the second half of Sinners. Still, despite the familiarity, I was always entertained. And the first half of the movie is so strong, I can easily give the shortcomings of the second half a pass. All in all, Sinners is one of the best movies I've seen this year. Come to think of it, it's the best movie I've seen this year, period. I can't recommend it any higher. And be sure to stick around for a great little mid-credit sequence featuring blues legend Buddy Guy. If you've seen Sinners, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, let me know what your favorite movie of this year has been so far. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members for your generosity and support. Become a patron today and get early access to videos, have a say in what content appears on my channel, join me for monthly live streams, exclusive watch parties, and more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream, as well as members-only watch parties. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.